Sarah Vine is here, author and columnist at the Daily Mail. She's got a piece in the paper today about the business of Macron and Starmer. You know, the bromance, I suppose you might say, that's been going on between the two of them. He wasn't much in sort of evidence last night, Keir Starmer, but they're having a meeting today, a summit today, to discuss what to do about the small boats. And Sarah says, when it comes to small boats, Starmer is like Monty Python's Black Knight, legless, armless, and barely able to nip Monsieur Macron's ankles. I don't think he even wants to, does he? Sarah, very good morning to you.
Good morning. It is quite Python-esque, isn't it? I'm reminded of that scene. You remember that brilliant scene in Monty Python's The Holy Grail where he says, "I fart in your general direction."
Yes.
And it's basically that, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Except, you know, he seems more at home with Emmanuel Macron than anybody else that he's ever with. I mean, it seems as though he's having a sort of love affair with him.
It's sort of fanboy. I mean, I think Starmer's obviously, you know, he comes from that sort of loyally ECHR background, doesn't he? He's desperate to be thought of positively on the sort of European international sort of stage.
Right.
And of course, you know, Macron is king, isn't he, in that respect? So, you know, he's the courtier.
He is, but he's not frightened to say what everybody knows here in this country, which is the reason people come here on the small boats from France and God knows where else they've sort of started out from, is because we're too nice to them. I mean, you know, even Macron said that.
Exactly, and I think that. You know, I grew up in Italy and I've lived a lot in France and Italy, and the way they treat migrants there is much worse. I mean, the left in this country like to paint this picture of Britain as a kind of, you know, terribly sort of, you know, racist, displaced, but it's really not. If you go and spend any time in the rest of Europe, you will understand that Britain is actually very kind to people who are, you know, who they think are refugees, and I think. That's, you know, that's a perception that we need to change. There's a reason they want to come here, because we're nice, civilized people.
Well, exactly right, and they also get a lot of free stuff, which is
that's the other thing. I mean, one of the supposed benefits of Brexit was supposed to be that coming out of the EU, we could control our own welfare levels, that we didn't have to, because if you're in Europe, you basically have to offer the same thing, and. That's the other reason why Keir Starmer is so useless, because he can't even get through this welfare reform bill that he's trying to do, which is quite important and needs to be done. And of course, you know, that's why they're all coming here, because they know that they're going to be looked after. They know that they're going to be sort of welcomed and given. And if you look at these boats, you know, they're not full of women and children, are they?
They're really not. And I mean, it's only Darren Jones that sees that, isn't it? It's like he's looking through not only rose-tinted spectacles, but a sort of a kaleidoscopic telescope.
They're all strapping young men in their 20s. You know, I can't, you know, you can't tell me that their life in France or, you know, Italy or wherever it is miserable, and that they're, you know, they're being tortured. They're not. They're coming here for a reason. And we all know what that reason is. And Starmer is incapable of addressing that. He can't even address it, you know, in his own domestic sphere, let alone when it comes to illegal immigrants. Yeah,
well, we saw it last night, and I played the clip already to Robert Jenrick there, King Charles mentioning the dreaded irregular migrants. You know, they're not bloody irregular. You know, I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to print out a definition of the word irregular and send it to Buckingham Palace so that Charles can actually read it, because irregular is the one thing they're not. They're bleeding regular. They come every day.
I have to say, I'm a bit worried about the level of wokeness coming out of the palace at the moment. I don't really. I mean, you know, he could have said uncontrolled migration. That would have been fine.
What's wrong with illegal? That's what they are, isn't it?
Okay, if you wanted to soften it, you could have softened it like that. Instead of which he goes, you know, he parrots the Labour line.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I don't. The king should be neutral.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be. I mean, and we all know that Charles has got he's quite a soft-hearted man. And that's completely fine. But it just seemed to me that he was just being quite woke, and I don't want that from my king.
No,
Sorry.
I don't. I mean, if it was the
Starmer is not a royalist, and you know you're just you know, you're messing your patch if you do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you're sort of playing into the hands of the people who think that there's a conspiracy by the establishment in this country to bring these people in, because, you know, you're referring to them in a way which supposedly means that they're not being treated as criminals. You know,
Exactly.
they are criminals. You know, they're coming in illegally. They don't have the right to be here. And if he'd really wanted to say a word that was actually more appropriate, he could have called them asylum seekers if he wanted to. But it's the word irregular. It really annoys me. It just really gets me.
And it's that Labour speak, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is so irritating. Which, you know, is trying to it's that sort of trying to soften the language in order to kind of make people think differently. I mean, I think that Macron coming here, you know, I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand why this can't just be done, you know, over the telephone. I mean, it's clear, you know, already they're rowing back on it. They're already managing expectations on it. The fact that that Number 10 sort of leaked it may well cause a load of asylum seekers or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, to try and come early, because there'll be this notion that the routes might be shut down. So that in itself cause problems and might cause deaths. The whole thing, as ever with Number 10 under Starmer, has been appallingly managed, and it's just so incompetent. The whole thing is just so incompetent.
Well, their whole government is incompetent. I mean, I woke up this morning to a new YouGov poll in which it says that 67% of the public in this country disapprove of the government. I mean, it's epic, isn't it?
And and I think it was one of your emailers asked earlier, you know, what have we got for that 770 million? Well, basically, the French have bought themselves a load of helicopters and quad bikes. That's what we've got for our 770 million. They've re-equipped their police force.
Yeah.
Based on the money that we've given them. I'd quite like to have some of that money back, to be honest.
Right, but also nobody seems to be asking what they've done with it. I mean, not one politician have I seen.
They've just had a big spending spree. They've gone and bought loads of boys' toys, basically. Yeah. I mean, there's a list. You can find it. It's on the internet.
Yeah.
But it's just, so the whole thing is just, and this kind of bowing and scraping to Macron as though he was some sort of, you know, god. It's just, I don't understand the point of it. It doesn't make sense at all.
It's embarrassing. I mean, I was talking to Gavin Mortimer over in France earlier today from The Spectator, and he was saying, you know, Macron is about as unpopular as he could be in France. I mean, nobody likes him, nobody wants him. He's out of a job pretty soon anyway.
Well, same here with Starmer, right? So you've got two very unpopular prime ministers basically swanning around in a sort of, you know, having lots of expensive wine. And how is that helping any of the people who vote, you know, any of the taxpayers or voters in either of their countries?
No, and that's the other problem that people have said to me this morning. You know, it's a bit of a bad time to be sort of showing off at state banquets and things and talking
Well, I mean, the OBR has just downgraded the economy and just said that we could just fall off a cliff at any moment. And there you are, you know, poncing around at a state banquet. It's not you know, it's just so out of touch and such in ear, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, let's have a massive, expensive state visit. Oh, yes. Meanwhile, Rome burns.
Yeah, right. I think I've got a great metaphor for you. I'm going to play this to you. I don't know if you've seen this. This is Macron's convoy. And I'm not sure whether it's leaving after the banquet or leaving after arriving at the banquet. But here they are. They drive off. The doors are still open, right? And the back is still open. And the cases fall out of it. I mean, that's about as good as a metaphor for this relationship, I think, as anything, is it?
Oh my goodness, that is extraordinary. I hadn't actually seen that. Hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious.
It's like a French farce. It's just sacre bleu. You know, hello. What's going on? Where is my suitcase, Inspector Clouseau?
Where is the Madonna with the big boobies? Sorry, that was that's
no, that's absolutely fine. It's exactly what it's like. That's where we are. And you have to laugh.
It is absolutely Pythonesque. I mean, honestly, that film is 50 years old and it just still resonates. And I'm sure the British people are just looking on going, oh my goodness.
I know. It's pathetic. It really is. Great to see you, Sarah. Thank you very much indeed. Very, very good to see you and very enjoyable. Sarah Vine, author and columnist at the Daily Mail. Brilliant.